All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to talk about what Teofimo Lopez had to say about Devin Haney, and after he said that he is going to take that fight. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to talk about the lightweight division and pretty much the biggest fight that can take place in the lightweight division, and a fight that I certainly hope is going to take place. And that is a fight between Teofimo Lopez, who is the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBC franchise champion, and Devin Haney, who is the WBC champion. I think we should probably call it the WBC regular belt, even though I don't think that that's the official name for the belt. But in a recent interview leading up to a fight that Teofimo Lopez is going to have with George Kambosos, and ahead of a fight that Devin Haney is going to be having with Jojo Diaz, Devin Haney was interviewed on a channel called Snow Queen. I think it's a channel that's associated with ES News. But he was asked about the Devin Haney fight, and the good news of it is that he said that he was going to take the fight, and I do believe that is because Eddie Hearn entered into the equation and said that if Bob Arum will not pay for the fight with Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, that Eddie Hearn would pay for the fight. So at least for the sake of this interview, Teofimo Lopez is saying that he's going to take the fight. And so he was asked to give a prediction about the fight. And for me, I thought it was interesting because, you know, I'm going to freely admit this. I'm not the biggest Teofimo Lopez fan in the world. To me, he seems kind of like he's all over the place. He'll say one thing one day, he'll say something else the other day. He'll say some things that are really, observant, and then sometimes he'll just say stuff that is really, really wacky, right? Like, I think like last week he said that Showtime was going to be going out of business, and when Showtime is on its last leg, that it would reach out to me, and now I'm going to tell them no, right? Just kind of this big fantasy thing about Showtime going out of business right when it's having this mega pay-per-view. But when he talks about what goes on in the boxing ring and what's going on, as far as people fighting and what he sees in the ring, I think he has some pretty astute observations, and the observation that he made about Devin Haney is very similar to the observation that was made by Gary Russell Jr. Maybe 5-6 months ago, where Gary Russell Jr. watched Devin Haney fight whenever the Jorge Linares fight was. Watched Devin Haney fight on the Jorge Linares fight, was asked what he thought about him, and he said, he looks like he's fighting like a professional amateur to me. And by that, I assume that he meant that, he's doing what Teofimo Lopez was calling pop and miss, right? Where he would just pot shot you and then he'd get out of the way and miss. He's not sitting down on his punches, not really looking to try to hurt you, but he's just trying to touch you, move, and make you miss, right, over the course of the fight. But what Teofimo Lopez said, because the lady who did the interview asked him, it's like, what do you think? I think she might have, obviously, well, she loaded the question a little bit and said, what do you think, when do you think you're going to knock him out, right? He said, before the 6th round, provided that Devin Haney doesn't, he's not running all over the place. And he went back and told the story when he sparred Devin years ago. And he's like, look, when I sparred Devin years ago, I didn't get any good work out of that, because pretty much what he did the whole time was he just ran. Anytime he would try to touch me, and then all of a sudden he'd be gone, and he would just be moving around the ring. So I didn't really get any good work out of that fighting session. But he said that, doing that in the professionals, that you're going to, at some point in time, going to have to sit down on your punches and show that dude that you're serious, and that you're going to be able to hurt him. Otherwise, man, the guy's going to walk you down. Otherwise, the guy's going to walk you down and stop you. Now, I think a good example of what Teofimo Lopez is talking about is what happened last weekend against Canelo Alvarez. And, that was one of the predictions that people were making, ahead of the fight with Canelo Alvarez about Caleb Plant, saying that, look, if Caleb Plant is probably going to have a good several rounds with Canelo Alvarez, and then at a certain point, he's going to start getting tired. Canelo Alvarez is going to start finding him. He's going to wear him down, and then he's going to knock him out because, Caleb Plant, unless Caleb Plant can sit down and make this guy get some respect from him, right? And that's pretty much the way the fight played out. And so Teofimo Lopez is pretty much saying that same thing, that, if, at a certain point in time, man, all of that, hitting and making somebody miss and moving around the ring, once you get in there with a certain level of guy and you're not able to do that over 12 rounds, that and you really can't hurt him, he's going to really start sitting down on his punches, breaking you down and getting you out of there. And that's what he's saying about Devin Haney. Now, if you look at the way that Teofimo Lopez fights, Teofimo Lopez is a good fighter, definitely a good fighter. And you can't say, I don't think that there's any real good argument to say that he's not, based on the fact that he was able to beat Vasily Lomachenko, and you're not going to be able to beat Vasily Lomachenko if you're not a good boxer. It's just not, I don't think it's possible, right? And he definitely had enough power to keep Vasily Lomachenko honest. I wish he would give the rematch because I think, he may lose that rematch if Vasily Lomachenko gets a little more aggressive with him. However, I definitely, know that Teofimo Lopez has a lot of pop on his shots. He's not somebody that is going to be messing around with you for long periods of time. He's looking for heavy body shots. He's looking for heavy left hooks, right hooks. And if he does corner you, he will wear you down over the course of a fight because he's so heavy-handed. Now, for me, I can't say that I know what is going to happen in that fight. I'm not going to vouch for that, for what Teofimo Lopez is saying, other than as far as the fighting style that Devin Haney's been fighting in, that is obviously correct, right? Gary Russell Jr. said the same thing. I alluded to it earlier and mentioned it earlier in the video, said the same thing. That is true about Devin Haney. Devin Haney is not a guy that has been sitting down on punches, really trying to go at a guy, wearing him out, and get him out of there. He has been doing that pop and, the pop and miss or fighting as a professional amateur like Gary Russell Jr. said. But, that may be just a result of the fact that, he started fighting professionally at such a young age, fighting older guys, and he may not have, he may have thought that was the best way for him to go about winning rounds and winning fights. But at this point in time, 22, 23 years old, whatever age he is, going into the period where you say you're starting to get your man strength, I think that this Jojo Diaz fight is going to tell a lot. He's going to have to sit down on his punches and do something with Jojo Diaz for me to really believe that he's going to be able to beat Teofimo Lopez. And I know that, the triangle theories don't work. And in fact, this triangle theory wouldn't work at all because Jojo Diaz has not fought Teofimo Lopez. But the size of Teofimo Lopez, the fighting style of Teofimo Lopez being somewhat similar to Jojo Diaz, in that he's not a slick fighter. He's somebody that is coming in there to hurt you, right? Kind of more of a boxer puncher style like Jojo Diaz. If he's not able to do something significant, sit down and dominate Jojo Diaz, then I will wonder what's going to happen to him with a guy like Teofimo Lopez, who definitely has world-class power. And in fact, Teofimo Lopez is one of the very few guys below 147 pounds that has the ability to turn your light switch off at any point in time. And if you have Teofimo Lopez stalking behind you, and you can't sit down and fight him on the inside, that's going to be tough. And I wouldn't be surprised if Teofimo Lopez got him out of there. There's almost no chance that he doesn't have the power to do it, seeing as Jorge Linares, who has significantly less power, buzzed Devin when he hit it when he got him late in the fight. But anyway, interesting conversation. Hopefully Teofimo Lopez is telling the truth and he's going to be willing to have this fight. Otherwise, it's just going to continue on with the talk. But I see, but with Teofimo Lopez fighting on a DAZN card, maybe Bob Arum will be willing to do that, for the next fight with Devin Haney. I think that he wanted to move him up to fight to 140 pounds, but it seems for him to fight Josh Taylor maybe a little bit early on. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.